here. I'm ready.
You sure?
It's so dark in here. It just got brighter all of a sudden. I do this. It's brighter.
It's because camera focuses on your distance.
Okay.
Are you good? Was it 12? No, 13.
All
What's
right.
good? Oh, all right. What's good, Slop Talk? You did it again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What's good, Slop Talk man? Welcome to episode 13. We just passed Friday the 13th, so good coincidence that we are doing episode 13, and we are doing HOH, which was a I would say it was a pretty eventful episode. I have a lot of complaints. But let's get right into it. So this one isn't a physical. We told you, we guessed it right. It wasn't going to be a physical one. It was more of a mental one, and you had to get. They were going to sing the description of what challenge they're describing, and you have to buzz. You have to be the first one to buzz in, whether it was a HOH, a wild card, or a power of veto competition. And you go up against somebody, and whoever doesn't get it gets eliminated. Whoever gets it picks the next two people to go up and compete. So
Name that croon.
The one thing that started off for me on this episode was as crazy as the Eliminate Christian episode was. This one started off kind of just like right into it, and everybody doing their interview room really wasn't talking about Derek X. So I was kind of happy. I was like, okay, they all just kind of woosawed and got past it. So
I don't think the producers want us to come after Derek. I think they're like, okay, let's put him in a good light.
Yeah. I mean, it was really good how they just like, okay, now don't talk bad about Derek X, because we're moving on from that. So it was pretty good. I liked it. That's the whole reason I used all of my America's vote, was because I didn't want him to go home off of the emotional play of him getting out. So now we get into competition, and there's some, there's whisperings back and forth on. Okay, so we go up and head to head, and there's kind of whisperings back and forth between house guests, and there are a couple interview rooms. But I guess the cookouts, that the heads of the cookout are gonna aim for SB this are supposed to be aiming for SB this episode. And as Kyland's number one outside of the cookout, he kind of doesn't want to be HOH, and so he's like, I don't want to have to make that call. And so I mean, immediately when he says that, I think he's just gonna throw it, just gonna lose. And so there's a couple, and there's a couple back and forths. There was a Brittany chose Kyland, and who was his first opponent?
So first it's SB and Kyland.
Yeah, SB and Kyland.
Kyland wins.
Kyland wins, and he takes offense.
He does.
Yes, he takes offense to this, and so he immediately puts up Azah and Brittany because he knows that Azah is Brittany's number one.
Yeah.
And so
in the beginning, so they're like picking, okay, whoever the closest allies are, we're going to put them up. And Brittany says, I'm doing that because I know that it's going to separate them. Only at least one will advance.
Yeah. And so Kyland takes offense, wins, and then chooses Brittany and Azah.
Yep.
And then Azah wins.
Yep.
And then Azah goes right back and picks Kyland again.
And Alyssa, yeah.
And Alyssa. And crazy enough, I thought he was going to throw it this and Kyland still wins.
I feel like he wanted to still have some control. He didn't want, because if he's out, who knows who's going to win? He's like, well, let me just keep going until
it's like him and Xavier or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it kind of dwindles down. People are losing. Obviously, Derek X can't play. He's talking up as the host, the guest host, and it gets down to was it Azah, Kyland, and Tiffany, right?
Yep.
And Azah whispers to Kyland that she really wants to win this comp.
Yeah.
And at the time Xavier was still in, and so she asks if they can throw the comp her way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to give you my thoughts on that, but let's pass that. Xavier agrees. He's like, I don't want any part of this. He's still on the
like, I don't want to win.
Yeah.
So you guys can like battle it out.
He's like, I'm not the target. We're still running the show. I don't need to be the person to cause trouble. So
it was so funny when it was just literally the cookout all just sitting on the seats.
Yeah, all that was a great shot, like a great shot of just like all 6 of them. And I think the house guests that were sitting that were got eliminated, were kind of looking over and like, damn, like they don't know about the cookout, but looking over, they're like, damn, did we just all mess up? What's going on? Yeah, because
Derek F even was like, oh, isn't this kind of weird?
Yeah, he's in the cookout and he was like, this is a little weird.
Yeah.
So Xavier says, yeah, I'll throw it to you, Azah. And then I didn't hear Kyland say it. I think she just assumed.
Yeah, but she said it too later on. She says, you heard me say it in front of Xavier. Because she never said, you said you would throw it to me. Because she never said that, but she does say, you were there when I wanted it, and Xavier said he would give it to me or whatever. So
yeah,
I don't think Kyland ever agreed to that.
Yeah, and on that note, there I have that moment. I was still screaming what I'm about to tell you guys after this. But then, and so Azah and Kyland get up there, and Azah thinks Kyland's gonna throw it, and Kyland, the man, Flash, the hands of speed, he's just like, bam, win. He's like, oh, sorry. It was funny because he was like, he hit it, and he goes, sorry. And I was like, what are you sorry for, man?
Yeah.
And so Azah's all kind of
bent out of shape about it.
Yeah, emotionally, and you could she's not hiding her face still, so she's you could totally tell.
The reason why he didn't want you winning. this exact reason.
Yeah, and so it ends up being Tiffany and Kyland in the last 2, and I think Kyland actually agreed like to throw it, but he just didn't want it to look like he was throwing it.
Exactly.
And so
I thought it was obvious when he's like, okay, let's hear the song more. And I'm like,
yeah.
Okay, now to me, that looks obvious. What he could have done was just pick the wrong answer.
Okay, so on that, I have the same thing. Okay, so end of the game, he gives Tiffany all the chance he can. She still doesn't know the answer. She answers wrong. She blows it. And Kyland is the HOH. Okay, now back to it. First off, on Azah's attitude, you want to win it? Win it. Like, don't expect people to throw it to you. Like, don't be bent out of shape because somebody wouldn't throw you the comp. Like, everybody's in this to win money. No, nobody's in this to make like lifelong friends. Although I do think they're pretty close. I think they do have lifelong friends in each other. But nobody's gonna just be
That's not how you're gonna win the game.
Yeah, no one's gonna silver platter you the game. Like totally. So if you really want HOH, like go out there and win. Like focus, get out there and tap the buzzer. Second of all, Tiffany, she even admitted it. Kyland gave her everything except for the answer, and she screwed it up. And so I'm actually glad that it was more of her being mad at herself for missing the opportunity. But yeah, and then you talking about later on when Kyland and Azah were talking about how she wanted to win and how he could have thrown her the competition. I was screaming the same thing. Like, no, you want to win, you go win. Don't expect Kyland to give you the game.
What game are you on, Azah? It's like you're on a competition. You're in a competition to win $750,000. The whole point of the game is to win it. This isn't the real world where you're just throwing a house to like
hang out for a long time. Yeah,
what happens when things start getting real. Like, no, this isn't the real. Like, you are in a competition, Azah.
Yeah.
And Azah just doesn't understand it. She's definitely still playing an emotional game. She's still like, her alliance is more to Derek F and Brittany than I think it is to the Cookout. And she just doesn't understand that. She's like, oh, I know people have to go, but this is just so difficult. Like, come on.
Well, I think her alliance is really stuck on the Jokers. Like she is dead set on those are her final 3, even being part of the Cookout. Like she wants to take Brittany with her as far as she can go.
Oh, yeah.
Even Derek F, they're all kind of emotionally wrapped up in staying together, those 3. And I get it. Like you started off together, you guys all been sleeping in the same room for however long. You start to bond with people. But at that point, like you have to make another alliance that aligns with you. You can't bank on being part of the cookout and wanting to keep all the people that the cookout wants out, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it just doesn't make any sense. So you
Yeah.
either got to get the numbers to beat the cookout and start backdooring everybody, or let go of this little tiny knit family you built in this little room.
And Kyland knows it. He
Yeah.
knows that his loyalty is there. Everybody. It's funny because everybody in the house, they know who their partner is. Everybody knows that, oh, Kyland and SB, they're good. And, and then Tiffany and Claire, they're linked up. Like everybody knows there's like no secret. They would be smart because the cookout, not that it's obvious, but you would be smart to link up with someone that people would not think you guys would.
Yeah. Get another person. Yeah. Like Claire and Xavier. Like if I would not pick that as a power couple dynamic. That would be like one of the ones that would just throw everyone off, or like Derek F and Derek X. Like that would throw me off like crazy. If the producers come out and start showing footage near the end and it's Derek F and Derek X just picking people off at the end one by one, I will be blown away on how great they hid that.
Yeah, me too.
But so Kyland went to HOH. He just does the Kyland thing and starts interviewing everybody, and kind of interviews some main people and asks them if they want to be a pawn. The one interview that got him was interviewing Claire, and Claire just starts naming off cookout people. She's like Tiffany, Tiffany, Derek F, Azah, Xavier.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna be okay with that.
Yeah.
So he was kind of like, okay, I guess I'm gonna like put her up then.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it wasn't shocking to me at all.
I think it's shocking how dumb Claire got. Like just naming off.
I know
one person, Claire. Don't name off your entire list. Like
don't name anybody. Like just be like, well, or just be like, not even anyone's name. Just be like, I would get rid of whoever you think is the biggest star. Who do you think? Like, who do you not talk game to, or who do you like? I mean, just be vague like that.
Well, like you said, everyone knows that there's there's pairs, right? So she could have just been like, well, what's best for your game, because we know there's like pairs in here. We know that it's Azah and Brittany. We know, it's now probably Xavier and Alyssa, and we know it's these, and we know it's Derek X and Hannah. Like, which one of those benefits you to separate? And that's just reiterating things Kyland already knows without painting a target on your back. And she's still wearing the stupid Joker costume, and she's just making herself look like a Joker. Like,
and she doesn't make any sense. And then he has a conversation with Derek F. Well, first he has a conversation with Azah. Let's go to Azah's conversation that he has with them. And Azah's just emotional. She's defensive. They can't have a normal conversation because she's like, you're speaking over me. I want to be listed. Like, you need to hear me. And he's just like, what are you talking about? We're having a conversation. Like, I'm not trying to offend you. We're in the same team. We have the same goals. At least I think we do. Like, why are you coming at me that way? She's obviously just playing an emotional game.
Yeah. And I felt him in that moment. Like, she asked the question, and he's very articulate on how he responds to make sure there's no doubt on what he's trying to say. And then she was like, you're not letting me speak. I'm like, well, you asked the question and he answered it. Like, that's not letting you speak. Exactly. But he did defuse the situation. He's like, listen, let's reset. Let's have a regular conversation where our levels aren't getting higher and higher as we talk. And so they reset, and they did have a conversation. And then they I don't want to say they made up, but they kind of hashed out like the whole HOH thing. And so he moved on to his next, which was Derek F.
Yeah, but basically Kyland didn't trust Azah to win. When it comes down to it, he didn't know who her loyalty was with. And I was thinking about who would have, if Azah won, like in Kyland's mind, who would have Azah put up for on the block? I only could think of Sarah Beth and Alyssa. If she wasn't going to go against the cookout.
I actually think it would have been Sarah Beth and Derek X.
Oh, okay.
Because Derek X because Derek X because I think she thinks Sarah Beth is a threat, and then I think she's still mad at Derek X for using Brittany.
Okay.
And then what they did with the whole, remember Tiffany and Derek X at the wild card did the whole gang up on Brittany thing. Hey, Azal, if one thing I know about Azal is she's keeping her receipts. Like everything that's happening that makes her emotional, even though it didn't happen to her, she's keeping those receipts, man. She's gonna rattle that off when she becomes HOH. It's gonna be a dangerous week that week, but we'll see. So yeah, so he has an interview or a conversation with Derek F.
Yep.
And they, he kind of talks out all the conversations that he had before, with like Claire and Azal and Brittany, and he definitely lets them know, like, I definitely think we need to take Claire out because she's gunning for the cookout. Yeah. And then he says, but I need a pawn. And I was thinking Azal and Brittany. And there goes the little Joker family. Big Bear, Big Papa Bear, Derek F kicked in, and he was like, don't, you can't do that. He's like, I can't take Brittany, I can't take Azal if they get put up, even if they know they're a pawn, I can't do it. And he goes, if you're gonna do that, just put me. And right away, like, I know I picked Kyland to win and you pick Xavier, but like obviously Derek X has moved up in the ranking for me. And right when he said that, Derek F moved up. I was like, dude, like, that's not a safe game to play, but I could just tell from the emotion in his face, like it's something he felt like he had to do in the moment. And so,
but if you're going to be a pawn and you're in Derek F's position and you trust Kyland, that's the week to be a pawn.
It is. I mean? Yeah.
Because it just seems to me, and it's very apparent that Kyland likes Derek F. He's not going to put him up. They are friends. So that's where I would just take my shot, or for me to sacrifice myself and be like, all right, don't ask me to do it again, but I'll do it this one time.
Yeah, definitely. And then even Kyland's like not sure about it. He's like, man, you don't really want to do that. And then but Derek F was like, no, put me up. It's gonna save the house a lot of trouble. Just put me up. Yeah. And but then we get to America's game. We get to the BB Casino.
Yep.
And they explain the powers, which is like the extra veto. And then it's the roulette one. Which one was that?
Okay, so he announces that Claire and Big D are on the block. And Big D decides he's not telling anybody that he's a pawn.
Well, and he explains that that Azal and Brittany don't have good poker face, so there's no reason to tell them. Yeah, which is a very smart play on his side.
Okay, so they have a chance to play 3 different games. They have the BB Derby, which is the $50 one.
Yeah.
So you can go ahead and explain that, because I'm still kind of confused how that works. I know now, but
so the BB Derby was kind of a shuffleboard, and you had to score as many points, and then you had a timer. So if you scored the same amount of points as somebody else, it was whoever got to those points faster was higher than you. Okay. Now the if everyone played, it would have been the top 6 people that would have a chance to use this power. But to even use the power, you have to bet on one of the people who play in the veto to win the veto.
Yeah.
And so let's say Kyland, so say Kyland has the chance to bet. So he says, I bet on myself to win the veto. If he wins the veto, he gets a second veto.
Right.
If Claire bets on Kyland, right, and Kyland wins the veto, now Kyland has the veto that he wins the competition, but Claire won the bet, so she gets a veto. So there's 2 vetoes in play, and so that's the veto one, the Derby veto.
And then you have the roulette.
Yeah.
Chopping block roulette, and that's $125. Basically, it's you have the power to remove a nomination, so you remove someone, but then you have to do the roulette, and that determines who the replacement is.
Random roulette.
Random.
That's right. Yeah.
Which is risky because let's say, oh God, my friend's a nominee, or I guess if I'm a nominee or whatever,
Mhm.
you can risk putting your own teammate on there,
Yeah.
or someone in your alliance or your friend or whatever. So that's risky. So that's definitely a game that you want to play because you're playing an individual game.
Mhm.
And I feel like just depending on your position, it might be too risky to play.
Mhm.
So I
It's
don't know.
something. It's something like Claire or Alyssa would play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you have the Coin of Dynasty, which basically means you do it heads or tails. It's $250. And if your side that you pick is flipped on that side, you overthrow the HOH and you become the HOH yourself. See, now that's something I can get with. But it's $250. So you better be winning a lot of money or saving.
Yeah, America better like you. America better like you.
And they mentioned that, it's not just America that's going to be voting on you. Sounds like the majority of it, your money will get there, but there is more chances to win money in the future.
Yeah. But this week it was all America's vote. It was all text message.
Basically, it's a popularity vote.
It's definitely a popularity.
It tells people where they stand as far as America's votes.
Which a lot of people were at $50.
Yeah.
But so the most you could get this week was $100, which means the only game that could be played was the veto one, and the power can only be won once. Yeah. So now that people have actually played this game, this game's done. Like
it's done.
It's either the roulette or the coin, and that's the only two games left. So
everybody was able to play this game this week, and so the people that won, so $50, SB won, Azah won, Alyssa won, and Claire won. SB and Claire are the only ones from the $50 that
played.
Play.
Yeah,
that played. And $75, Hannah won, Tiffany won, and Kyland won. And then Kyland chooses to use it, and Tiffany decides to use it, even though Claire tells her not to play.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have played.
I wouldn't have played, and we'll get to Tiffany in a little bit. So,
and then the $100, it went to both Derek and Brittany, which I'm surprised about Derek F winning the $100. Not that, I mean, I'm not like, oh my gosh, but I just didn't think he would be a top for people. I thought maybe Kylan would have been on the top, or Xavier. What did Xavier win? I didn't write him down. 75?
No, I think he was a 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they would have been higher up, but whatever. So Brittany chooses to save it. Brittany's like enthralled, like she just cannot believe.
By the way, there's an episode of How I Met Your Mother where when you break the news to somebody who doesn't realize what they do, or like a trait of somebody, like you can never unsee it. And ever since you told me about Brittany being super extra anytime the camera's on her, I realize it now, and I get super annoyed. So she won $100, and the Brittany in the Big Brother house, I mean, just goes 2,000% screaming, and I'm like,
I mean, I hope she's not going to win 100 next week, because I hope people are like, yeah, I don't want to see her do that again, so I'm not going to vote for her.
I'm in the camp that I don't want to vote for her just so I don't have to see that again. Like, here's your $50. Like, you better save it. You need it.
Both, or not both. Sorry, Derek F decides to play the game.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's hard to say because I'm not in his position, but it's like, you already said you were going to be a pawn. Just be a pawn.
I get what he said. He said, I'm going to pull myself off the block. I don't care that I said I'd be a pawn. But you are right. Like, I think I would have saved the 100 for another comp like that. The coin one is really interesting. And so if you could get up that high, that's really good. And then obviously the roulette one's a little dangerous, but I think I save it, especially knowing you're the pawn. And even if Claire comes off, Kylan has a backup target or two. So I mean, yeah, I definitely think I save it.
Yeah, I was quite so. I'm guessing they figure that only one person's going to do the $250, because that one, you just win automatically. Like,
Yeah.
you're taking, you know, you're
As soon as you
you're
get 250, yeah.
Yeah, you're overthrowing the HOH, right?
Yeah.
But then you have to be a little defensive, like I need to use it before someone else uses it, or do I need to use it, even need to use it? But the 125 and then the BB Derby that was just played and the chopping block roulette, or sorry, the Coin of Dynasty, you might not win.
Yeah.
Like you
It's a 50-50 shot. Yeah.
50-50 shot, but you might not win. Whereas the chopping block roulette, you know, you are taking someone down. There's no, you know, going against it. But I'm just curious on how they decide who gets to win that. If there's multiple people that say, oh, I want to play the roulette game, how do they decide?
It might be like the first person with enough money.
Yeah, I'm just curious.
Yeah. But it's a good thing to look forward to because
Oh yeah.
I'm
excited.
I mean, same with the coin one. I mean, if a couple people get to that amount of money, like if everyone says I want to play, like even if someone, I mean, everyone's just in line. So if somebody flips and wins, I mean, does everyone in line just like, well, there goes all my money. I saved it for no reason. Is that just like the end of it? That's weird. Yeah. But yeah, so the games are weird, are a little. They're definitely gamble on any of them.
Oh yeah.
And then let's get back to Tiffany. Tiffany says, I'm gonna play, even though Claire says not to, and they do a flashback clip of Claire saying, don't do it, don't waste your money. I got this, don't worry about it. Tiffany is dead set on saving Claire because that's her number one. That's like her best friend in the world. They're gonna probably buy a house together when they get out and live together. That's how serious she's making this. Then she proceeds to score 0. Waste of $50. Waste of $50. Yes. I mean, that just I was just like, are you like at least score 3 points?
Yeah.
It's
so
so
they
bad.
all play, and then Big Brother does them dirty and announces who played. I didn't think they were going to do it. I thought they were just going to say, this is the winner of the game, so be it. So they don't know who used their 50, who didn't.
Yeah.
Now, as a guest, house guest, you have to think, okay, how much does everybody have? Well, we know so-and-so doesn't have any more money. Or they might have $50 left, or they might have $25 left. So they have to like play those numbers in their head. But then they don't say who won how much money, which is probably a good thing. And then I thought Derek X looked so obvious when he was like, I'm not telling anybody. And he comes out and they're like, how much did you win? He's like, well, I didn't win the 100. And you're like,
you just say 50, bro. Like,
or just say, oh, are we telling everybody right now? Is that what we're doing? Because if that's what I would be like, no one else. Are you gonna tell me how much you got? Like,
yeah.
You're not obligated to tell people.
Yeah. But if you're not gonna tell them, you just in your head already say like, I won 50. That way, when you get down there and they're like, hey, how much did you win? Oh, I won 50. What'd you get? Are we telling everybody? What'd you get?
Yeah. Or just come out and be like, America hates me.
Yeah.
Like, and then like, okay.
Yeah, and he definitely has an excuse. Like, oh, totally. People must have hated that HOH last week, and then everyone's will believe that. Like, anyways, so they announce who played, which they definitely say Tiffany's name, and then they go through the thing, and there's only like 4 people up on the board, and Tiffany's not one of them. So definitely did Tiffany dirty. They're like, oh, she didn't qualify. But so now that's done, and they're about to go into the power of veto, knowing that there's these 4 people that are gonna have to bet on the power of veto. So
so they get to do power of veto. They won't pick until all the players are chosen. And so I didn't realize that they were going to go in order. For some reason I thought, and maybe I wasn't paying attention, because the announcer was kind of very like soft spoken.
Yeah.
I guess it's better than that other lady, but she anyways, they say that, okay, once everyone's chosen, then each person can pick each person. So Kyland gets to pick first, Derek gets to pick second, and so on and so forth. I thought just the winner got to pick and just kind of cross your fingers and hope that the person that they pick to win veto wins. But everyone gets a shot to pick a player. So
so everyone gets a shot to pick a player, but if that player's already picked, you have to pick somebody else, right? Yeah. So like if Kyland picks himself as the top winner, if Kyland says I bet on myself to win the veto, like Claire can't say I pick Kyland, she has to pick somebody else. So
And so I think in that position, I think you have to, well, I don't know, kind of vote for yourself because, like,
I don't know, because if you do win, so the only kicker on this is there's leftover people. Mm-hmm. There's leftover people, so there's going to be people not picked to win, mm-hmm. and so I guess it depends on who gets picked to play the veto. Like... Yeah, because if Kyland's up there and he's like, I don't want to pick myself, like I want to spread my chances, mm-hmm. and he picks somebody else, right? Now, whoever wins has the veto, and then he can veto to get himself back out of trouble, mm-hmm. because he didn't win. So I don't know. I think it's a tough one. I guess it really does depend who are the three who gets picked to play the veto. Yeah. Because like Kyland said, he doesn't want the vetoes to be used to kind of entrap him into making a hard choice between maybe a Cookout member or maybe somebody who he has talk game with that he wants to continue working on for the next couple weeks. So definitely a hard one. Definitely looking forward to seeing how this comes out because I mean with these powers, it's always the biggest wrench ever with these powers.
Yeah, it literally changes the game.
Yeah,
or it can anyway. So just like a little bit of BB like news. So I didn't think Derek F was gonna get picked by America because all of like the controversy with Derek. Have you heard about that?
No.
Okay, so I guess people that watch the live feeds say they've been talking about it. So, well, first they didn't like Derek's reaction to Tiffany last week when he said this bitch, being a bitch, or he called her a bitch, or some kind of context he called her a bitch. Well, America did not America, just some people in America felt that no man should ever call a female a bitch.
Okay.
And so I guess it became this whole thing, which I mean didn't really faze me at all, but that's just my ignorance, I guess. But I guess America is really mad, and I guess Kyland caught wind of it, and Kyland, the peacemaker that he is, I guess on the live feeds, talked to Derek F, and he's like, "You can't be calling females bitches, like it's not okay." And Derek F says, "No, I'm allowed to say it because I'm gay." And Kyland was like, "No, that's not an excuse." So of course there's controversy with people, and they're saying, "No, he is allowed to, he's not allowed to." So it became this whole thing. So I mean, regardless of how you feel about this situation, I didn't think that Derek would get the $100 just because, or maybe people just don't know, or maybe people don't care,
or maybe people don't watch the live feeds. Like, I just Paramount Plus. Listen, I'm gonna let you know. You guys just offered me a free month. I just got it, so now I'm on Paramount Plus. Listen, Slop Talk fan. I'm gonna tell you this right now.
Confession. These are confessions.
Stop watching the live feeds. It ruins the TV show for you. I just caught wind of a conversation between two of the house guests, and it ruined the POV episode for me. It ruined the POV.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna spoil it. Because the live feed spoiled for me. But as soon as that happened, I was like, "This is why I don't watch." And I immediately exited out, and I'm like, "I'm not watching anymore." And the two house guests were still having the conversation, and I was like, "I don't want to hear it anymore."
So you don't even know if it's 24-hour recording or
like... I did not check, and I'm not jumping back on because the house guests that was the real reason why I signed up for it yesterday, was because I was like, I want to see if like at 2 a.m. or at like 10 p.m. if it's still on. But now I'm scared to go because if the house guests are awake and having conversations, I'm gonna catch the word.
Okay, but if anything, I mean, this is the time to look because you already know that outcome.
I guess. Okay, Slop Talk.
Just go on 2 in the morning, or when you. No, everyone's sleeping in, I guess, right? So when you wake up in the morning, because you wake up pretty early, and they're in LA time, same time as us.
Just go on and see.
Go on and just tell me if they're sleeping or not, or if it's shut off because nothing's happening, or what. Because
all right, Slop Talk fam. All right, Slop Talk fam. I mean, I already ruined the week for me already. I'll just go on either late at night or early in the morning. I'll let you know if it's just like the living room or like Derek F sleeping in a lounge chair or something. But I will find.
You don't have to tell me who wins or what. But do you know who like the like the final two like
No,
people on
no.
the bottom are? Okay.
No,
You
no,
don't
no.
know
I don't
that?
know that. I don't know that.
Okay.
I just know from the conversation they had, somebody told them they were talking about who won the POV
Okay.
and talking about strategy on how to continue on from there.
Okay.
So I'm not gonna say it. I want to ruin it. I'm not gonna be mean to America, Slop Talk family. I know you're out there. We're getting the views and we're getting some likes out there, and it's not just these two people here who are giving this podcast. It's actually other people. So I know you're out there. So I'm not gonna ruin it for you, but I will check to see if the cameras are just always on even when everyone's sleeping. But other than that, I'm looking forward, I guess, to the elimination or the eviction episode because I ruined POV. I don't know if anyone won the POV derby, so we'll see. I don't know that, but I'll probably turn it on tonight at like 11 and ruin that for me too. But I'll do that for Slop Talk. All right. But I don't have anything else. I'm looking forward to the rest of this week.
See ya.
All right, Slop Talk fan. As always, subscribe. I know you're watching, so subscribe. And there's a couple of you users out there that are repeat watchers. So just hit subscribe. Subscribe and hit the bell. Ring the bell. Ding-a-ling-a-ling. Ring the bell so you're notified anytime we post these. Like this video. Comment below. I'm still waiting for some people to come get these Slop Talk. Look at this. Some quality stickers here. All right, Slop Talk. This is yours free. I'm gonna mail it to you. I just went and got stamps so I can mail these to whoever the first two people are to comment. So first two people to comment, I'm gonna send those out to you. I'll get in contact with you. Other than that, we will see you guys after the POV and the eviction episode. All right, guys, have a good one.